We're with Galen Rupp here, ahead of the Chicago Marathon. How's your training block gone for this one?
It's been good. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been a little while since I've run a marathon, and you know, I've dealt with some injuries and had some really tough years, you know, the last couple of years. But you know, I'm finally healthy. You know, it's certainly not where I think I would want to be in the end, but it's been a pretty good build. You know, again, the biggest thing I can say is that I'm finally healthy, and yeah, we've had some good training leading up to this.
Yeah. How much time did you take off after the Olympic trials?
Well, I had surgery on my hip, so I wasn't running for I can't remember the exact number, but you know, several months. You know, it's a pretty major thing. And then just a lot of rehab. You know, surgery sucks, but you know, it's necessary. But you lose a lot of strength, and you know, I had gotten in some really bad movement patterns, you know, not only just from the past couple of years, you know, running through things that I wish I had addressed this several years ago, but better late than never. But it's been a process for sure. Yeah. And almost having to relearn how to run. Do
you feel like those bad movement patterns were related to sort of the back injury you've been dealing with?
It's both, yeah. I mean, the hip and your back are so related. You know, what came first, I don't know, but certainly, yeah. I mean, for so long, I would say in my career, I was really healthy, and I really avoided a lot of those things because I was really diligent about addressing things right away, you know, taking time off, and you know, again, sometimes these things just happen, it's bad luck, but I certainly understand more, you know, people kind of getting in injury cycles, and you know, just how devastating it could be, and also it's reaffirmed the importance of biomechanics and how well you move, you know, not just, you know, when you're hurt, but also when you're healthy, you know, keeping things on top. You know, I've always thought, you know, whether it's a basketball player, golfer, baseball player, they're constantly working on their shot, working on their swing, you know, tinkering with it, trying to get things optimal. You know, it's not just, things should never be good enough, you know, and I think that gets said way too much about, you know, people's mechanics, like, oh, well, they're running all right, so it's good enough, don't touch it. You know, I think it should be what's optimal. And you know, again, I've gotten some bad patterns and bad habits trying to run through things, and you know, ultimately, yeah, I gotta clean all that up.
How long have you felt healthy for?
I mean, I'm healthy now. You know, it's hard. You know, it's hard not to compare yourself to, you know, like 10 years ago or 15 years ago when things happen so naturally. You know, I'm a different person than I was back then, but you know, again, I've made a ton of progress, and you know, I'm moving a lot better than I have in years. Yeah. And that's what I keep going back to and focusing on. You know, I've had some good training. I don't finish things and feel all twisted up. I don't have a lot of pain in a lot of areas that I was having pain in for a long time, and so you know, those are all huge positives.
Yeah. So if I said this is the healthiest you've felt since when? Fill in the blank.
In years.
Yeah. Have you tweaked things in your routine, like compared to like where you're at before all these injuries, or like how do you train any differently to try to stay healthy?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. You know, I can't do what I did 10, 15 years ago. You know, and I think that you know, I was able to bounce back a lot quicker when I was younger. You know, from a hard session. So now, you know, I'll probably take a little bit more time between sessions. And I think that's normal for most people. You know, and you know, the emphasis is a little bit different for me now. You know, I don't feel like I need to do necessarily as much volume as before. You know, my cardiovascular system is probably my biggest asset, you know, and for anybody. As you get older, your heart never stops pumping, never starts working. And, you know, all those years of training certainly add up, and that doesn't go away. And so, you know, for me, it's been more of, you know, continuing to work on, you know, whether it's lifting, strength and power, and again, doing a lot more rehab stuff that, again, I was fortunate that I moved pretty cleanly before and didn't have to think so much about it. But again, your body's not a static thing. It changes, and so you got to adjust with it over time and continue to constantly be looking at, you know, whatever weaknesses you have or movement patterns, and yeah, just keep addressing it. And that's no different, hurt or healthy. You should always be doing that.
Yeah. What's your goal for Sunday?
You know, I'm really excited to get back in there and see where I'm at. You know, it's you know, it's been a tough couple of years for me, no doubt about it. You know, I'm not going to put time or a label on it, but you know, I'm going to run a race that's really going to be the best race for me. And you know, again, I'm excited to see where I'm at.
Is it difficult mentally to adjust? Because obviously when you come here in the past, you come in with the aim of winning or running really fast, and maybe the goals were a little different this time around. Is that a tough mental adjustment?
It's just different, you know. I wouldn't say it's hard. Obviously, I would love to be, you know, back right up at the front, but again, you got to be realistic. You know, I think too often people might get a little bit too ambitious with things, or you know, they always want to say I'm going to win. And you know, I'm looking at things where it's been a long time for me. It's been a couple of years, and you know, I really want to come in here and have a solid race that's going to set me up well for the next one in the spring. You know, I haven't raced since last February, and just going through a lot. I think, you know, Mike and I have a good plan about what's going to be a good race for me here, and then we'll continue to build from that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just really excited that now it's like I'm healthy. I'm not worrying about my body. It isn't breaking down like it was before when I had a lot of these problems. And you know, again, you got to keep building. I think any runner can relate to that. You know, it's such a personal journey, and but yeah, you got to be smart. You know, it's just stupid people going out too hard or trying to do something that's not what their training would indicate. And you know, I'm not gonna fall into that trap on Sunday, but you know, I'm excited. I'll say that.
Yeah. Is your goal to keep going through LA 28?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And your two tune-up races, you ran the 20K champs and then the Philly half. How'd you feel about those two results?
You know, I was the 20K was okay. You know, Philly half, I was maybe hoping to run a little bit faster, but you know, I think the big takeaway from that, you know, I was still doing pretty good amount training wise, and just got to rest. You know, and so you know, all things considered, it was an okay race there. You know, I think I'm definitely in a lot better shape than maybe what I ran. And again, just reaffirm that got to rest now. You know, it was kind of the nature. Talking to Mike beforehand, we knew that where it was in the schedule and where my buildup was going. It's, you know, I had to keep doing a lot of training, you know, to get ready for this one here. And so. Yeah, but since then we've had some good workouts, and we're really backing off and getting ready to go on Sunday.
Where have you been based for the build-up?
I've been in Flagstaff a lot this past year. Last couple of months I have been at home in the summer in Portland though. Okay, so
summer in Portland. Were you like the last few weeks? Were you in Portland, or you're in Flagstaff at all?
I've been in Portland in the last few months, and then before that, I was in Flagstaff.
Gotcha. All right, Galen, thanks for the time. Good luck on Sunday.